All right, we're recording.
Hello, my name is Molly King.
I'm Elaine Ngo.
I'm Lee Johnson.
I'm Elizabeth Brightwell.
And I'm Lauren Dolman.
And our topic was over the Internet of Things and how hacking has increased, affected the United States security. So imagine, you're on a first date at a ramen place nonetheless. You want to impress your date, but how can you do that with incessant slurping? If only there was a sound device connected to your phone that could cover up the loud ingestion. But wait, there is. The Otohiko fork masks your slurp through a connection to your phone. Now, you're on this fine date when the fork stops working. Your phone's been hacked. See, this fork and many devices like it have increased hacking vulnerability. You see, Bluetooth-enabled devices can be connected to one's phone through a series of code executions. A hacker can take full control of someone's phone, computer, or any other Internet of Things device. This is where the Internet of Things becomes increasingly vulnerable and dangerous. This is a risk largely associated with the Internet of Things, or IoT. But what exactly is the Internet of Things? Well, defined by Merriam-Webster, the Internet of Things is the networking capability that allows information to be sent to and received from objects and devices, such as fixtures and kitchen appliances, using the Internet. While IoT allows one to hide their slurping with a Bluetooth connection to a phone, it also increases the risk of getting hacked, which we will elaborate upon in our first point. Next, we will explain what the current solutions are and their limitations. Finally, we will conclude with what our group determined to be the most optimal solution.
Despite the many benefits that come with the Internet of Things, there are several consequences that also occur. One being that the Internet of Things increases vulnerability for hacking. Once a hacker breaches a device's system, they will have access to not only that device, but also several other devices already connected to the Internet. With that kind of access, hackers would be able to cause all kinds of damage. For example, if a hacker is able to hack into a self-driving vehicle, he or she could then cause someone else's injury or even death. Or, some future attacks might involve a hacker locking one out of their smartphone or threatening to make public an embarrassing video recorded by one's own webcams, says Jason Hong, a computer scientist at Carnegie Mellon University, unless one sends some bitcoins their way. After a person becomes victim to a cyber attack, or even before, they usually try to find ways to prevent future attacks. However, unless they have learned about ways to prevent attacks, we are uneducated in defending personal information or protecting devices as a nation. Tim Stevens, a lecturer at King's College in England, explains about how instead of trying to become educated in cybersecurity and/or hacking, the government places pressure onto businesses to create more secure devices. However, Stevens states, companies will continue selling products with poor security because consumers are willing to buy them. Now that you realize that you have no knowledge to protect future attacks, what do? Well, buying antivirus software would be a good choice. However, they tend to be expensive, and even then, there's no guarantee that the information or devices will be completely secure. Ronnie Richardson and Max North from the Management and Entrepreneurship and the Information Systems Departments at Coles College of Business state in their article that malware is constantly evolving to stay ahead of antivirus software, so software alone cannot be depended on to block an attack. It is not just malware that is evolving, but also methods that hackers use. If there is no guarantee that antivirus softwares will work, then what should one do to solve this issue? My colleagues will describe potential solutions for this problem.
Today, there are many upcoming and developing ways that security is being regulated. The Bitdefender is a cybersecurity and antivirus software that can catch money threats. It includes a firewall, which is a network security system that monitors and controls based on security rules. One of the best perks of this software is that it comes from many extra security tools that most basic antivirus programs don't include.
Even more risky is the fact that most people do not have a Bitdefender on their device. For anti-software to work, it has to be upgraded regularly. Even if you did buy these devices, Tim Stevens, a lecturer at King's College, England, states that the expensive antivirus software and devices are still susceptible to hacking. People must rely on updates that are not evolving fast enough to provide perfect protection. A briefing from Brent Stafford Center on International Security states that society's dependence on the connected technology is increasingly fast than their ability to build defensive capabilities, resistance against attacks and adversaries. Additionally, there is an even larger gap between the protection provided for the Internet and the Internet of Things. It is not possible to download an antivirus software for your smart fork.
One of the tools is a password manager that protects usernames and passwords while logged into online accounts. It makes it invisible to browser history. If you notice, when you have to make a new account, usernames and passwords are a big deal in keeping your information secure. Even for our own school MacBooks, we have to update our passwords every few months.
This solution does not work because people make weak passwords. People select passwords that are easy to memorize, which makes them easy for other people to figure out. Selecting names, anniversaries, and birth dates are easy to hack. The most secure password are a random string of characters that has no meaning to the person. However, password bots can be used to infiltrate these extremely complex passwords. The password inconvenience makes it unlikely anyone would choose this kind of password anyway. And when people write down their password, it defeats the purpose of having a complex password in the first place.
Jason Hong, who is a professor of human-computer interaction at Carnegie Mellon, whose research areas in usability, mobility, privacy, and security of technology, indicates that teaching cybersecurity to students who are in computer curriculars along with the average student, by having courses go over basic programming practices and having that go alongside already existing courses. Authors Li Chao Chen and Li Sun Chao have written The Teaching of Web Security Using Portable Virtual Labs, where they came up with a suite development, which provides teaching modules that include basic web security concepts and structured hands-on laboratory exercises for high school and college students. For example, when discussing secure web transactions, the module introduces certificate, authority, and hands-on exercises that contain step-by-step instructions for creating a web certificate and installing it on a web server.
Jason Wong also states that cybersecurity is not part of current computer science curriculum. Unfortunately, technological advances are not trickling down to widespread classroom instruction either. So the majority of our young people are going into this field completely unprepared for this new technological advances and risks. Industry advocates recommend that the federal government leverages its expenses to develop a core curriculum that could be offered specifically for computer science classes, but a lighter version that could be used as a more generalized curriculum to raise awareness among citizens of the importance of cybersecurity and to protect critical national priorities like the electronic grid, water supply, banking systems, and cell phone towers.
All right. So, if none of these solutions are working, what will work? Through examining different possible solutions, my group has come to the conclusion that improving internet education will be the most optimal solution to our issue. In the article, Curriculum, Instruction, and the Internet by Dr. Mohammed Betts, it is implied that the internet curriculum and instruction go hand in hand. From that article, it is stated that by the U.S. National Center for Educational Statistics predicted that by February 1999, 99% of all public schools will have at least one way of access to internet. In the recent years, that has just increased. With the advancement of the internet, it will be beneficial to educate those who use it. With the expansion and improvement of internet education, people will be able to grasp different internet literacy skills, such as being able to navigate software applications and identify harmful websites that could potentially protect users. This increase of internet education will also bring internet safety awareness, thus meaning that people will be able to secure their internet. All of these together will lead to a more connected and protected society. This protection being increased internet safety awareness, allowing people to take preventative measures against hacking and other internet dangers. The connection being more people being able to efficiently use the internet. We're excited. Thank you.
Okay, Elizabeth, I'm going to start with you. Elizabeth, how did the group decide to include Molly's perspective or lens or conclusions into the overall presentation?
We really focused on Molly was her Bitdefender box, which was one of our main solutions that we felt did not work. She did a lot of research on this the antivirus software that goes into the Bitdefender, and we felt that that was a very strong point to be added to our presentation. We also felt that the research that she did that surrounded it was a nice way to kind of build it up and also round out our different views that could be helped us put into the presentation. Even though we didn't put everything in, we also did feel like it was something that could help us lead us to the Bitdefender and to our password stuff.
Thank you. Molly, describe how the content of the team presentation was changed as a result of your discussions.
So when we first started off, we were solely basing on like the Internet of Things and hacking, and we didn't really consider all that goes into it. And so as we went on, we were trying to figure out how many facets of society that it included. So as we like increased our research, Elizabeth's lens, especially when it came to the historical and political aspect to it, we didn't know about the regulations or how the Fourth Amendment, written in the 1700s, would apply to today's like modern society. And so as we discussed these issues and our lenses, we created like a more modern perspective of how the Internet of Things is applied nowadays, and how when it comes to our overall like solution, it's not just one answer. It's not just technology. It's all these, like, it's the economic lens, the historical lens, and especially it relates to the technological lens, which was Elaine's. But it wasn't just solely one thing. And as our group discussion like elaborated upon these lenses, we were able to realize that we had to include more things than just, we need antivirus software. We also need education in the classroom.
Thank you. Elaine, what is a way in which your team's resolution makes you think differently about your own individual research?
I based off my research on technology more, and I only saw how technology was affected, but based on, say, Elizabeth's research, we saw that it's not just about technology, but also in the past, like how the past has affected what it is today, just like Molly said about the All Rights Act and the Fourth Amendment. And so I was able to see that they're all interconnected, not just the Internet of Things of technology, smart objects.
Okay, thank you. Whitney, in what way did you improve your ability to work with a group as a result of this project?
This project actually went pretty well. I learned to share my IRR and everyone's perspectives of their lens and just how to include it in the project.
Thank you. Lauren, what was the strongest counter argument to the solution or conclusion your team identified, and why?
The strongest counter-argument to our solution of the improvement of education was that economically, changing the curriculum would cost a lot of money. Not only would the government have to pay to hire more teachers that were experienced in education of the internet, but it would also mean that new equipment might also need to be brought in to different classrooms in which the subject of the internet was taught.
Thank you very much, ladies. Nice